Hey everybody, my name is John DePietro, and I want to welcome you to this edition of My Life with Kenny Rogers. Now, hold on a second. It's not about my life with Kenny Rogers, but the life with Kenny Rogers of our special guest for this segment, whose name is Mike Wolpert. And what I need to tell you is this. This is one of several segments that we're doing to commemorate the really 55 or 60-year career of Kenny Rogers, and we're talking with people that actually worked with him in the trenches. So you get to hear the story directly from them. And what we should tell you is that because this is a series, if you go to the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there's a little red button that says subscribe. Hit that button, and then a little bell will pop up. Hit the bell, and then every time we do a new one of these, you will be able to be one of the first to view it. So with that being said, we want to thank you so much for joining us and introduce you to our special guest, Mr. Mike Wolpert. Mike, welcome to a show about you.
Hey, John. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So, Mike, tell us the years that you worked with Kenny and what you did.
Well, it started probably in the early 80s, like 81 or 82. But I was with Clair Brothers Audio, the sound company that he did. And I was part of the crew. I was one of the monitor guys to mix his on-stage sound and set up, all the speakers and everything for people and in the audience. And then come around 1983 or 84, we started looking at some new equipment for him. And Tim Rogers asked if I would come to work for him. Kenny.
Okay.
So I left Clair Brothers and came to work for Kenny.
So now you're working directly with Kenny.
Yeah. And we started upgrading all their equipment, all their band gear.
So basically what happened is you went in-house as opposed to being an outside vendor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So you got to wear black all day long, or at least at night.
During shows, that's for sure. Yes, we did. Yeah, with Tim. Tim was production manager at the time, and we started bringing them into the electronic age, a little bit with their equipment, like the pianos and the sounds of the strings and all that, and got them these instruments called Kurzweils. Kind of really got me in with Kenny. He loved them.
Those were the keyboards, right?
Yeah, they were brand new at the time. Sampling keyboards, that was a brand new way to make sound. And it was more realistic. And it didn't have all the little synchronicities of like pianos going out of tune and all that kind of stuff.
Ah, okay. So were you there when you guys segued Kenny from a wired mic to a wireless mic? Was that during your time?
Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah, we were. But however, though, he was in the round. And it was kind of a little bit of both because we made this little thing. We got Mike Tate to make this little thing that went around inside the stage.
The inside stage.
Wire, but it was a wireless, yeah. And he would sling that thing around like crazy during the show. You had to stay out of the way. You get hit with that, it would hurt.
It's kind of funny because when you look at those pictures of the early 80s there, you see that cord over the right shoulder.
Yeah.
It was kind of like his security blanket, would you say?
Oh, no doubt about it. He loved it. And when he had to go use a cordless mic, he wasn't happy about it. He liked to play with that cord. That was part of his show.
Yeah, hold the mic in the left hand and have that...
wing that we call it the rabbit. Wing that rabbit around the inside of that round stage. It was singing too, baby. It really would go traveling.
That's right, because it would go flying around.
Oh, yeah.
Flying around. And, that's funny that you say that because I used to notice crazy stuff like that for whatever reason. I don't know. But tell us about the day in the life of a guy who works on the road in the behind-the-scenes capacity, because people think that, well, you go to lunch about 4:30 and you hang around in the back and then you come out 10 minutes before the show and you work for an hour and a half and then you go back on the bus and party and, somehow magically you appear in the next city to do the same thing. From let's put it this way. Let's try it here. From the pregame meal, give us that rotation from there.
You mean in the morning when we first roll in with the buses and the trucks?
No, do it just before the show, and we'll go right around the clock.
Okay, yeah, okay. We'd have our dinner, have everything to eat. And then you always go out and triple check everything to make sure everything's ready to go for the show. That there's nothing that happened in between the dinner and the beginning of the show. By then, all the ushers and all that kind of stuff are starting to take their places.
Okay, but let me stop you for a second. I think it's important to point out that when you guys ate, you weren't eating peanut butter and jelly and pretzels. You were eating with the band and stuff, right? There was.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had catering. Catering would provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sorry about that movement. Catering provided breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then anything after that was on us, like for loadout or something, we would take care of ourselves. But yeah, it was and the food was great. Food was always top notch, number one.
Okay, so now it's an hour before showtime. You're out checking everything.
Yeah, also there's walk-in music being put on the PA system in the background, so there's something going on for the people, and the spotlight operators are having their little meeting about getting up there and talking to our lighting designer, who, we had several ones, but I think Jeff Metter was the one that wound up with the job in the end.
Yeah.
Dustin Hudgens before him. We had a lot of people out in that position.
Okay.
All excellent people, but they would have their little meetings before they would send all the spotlighter guys up into the ceiling. And then also, you're coming down to showtime, since we're playing in the round, and sometimes we would have to have somebody up in the lighting above where Kenny's playing, so they would have to go up early and get out of the way before the show started too. So
they'd go up on those big silver step ladders. Well, they weren't really step ladders; they were giant ladders, right?
Oh no, they were big. Oh yeah, in the early days.
Yeah.
That's the Roy Bickle thing. Those big arms would come down, and the spotlight operators would climb in them. Then we'd take them up in the air for the show. That's true. I forgot about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that happened.
So during the show, now how about if back in those big days there were two opening acts? What was your job from that perspective?
Well, when I first started, I was part of the staging crew, moving equipment on and off the stage and getting everybody set up for the next act. But then later on, I became production manager of the show, and then I would have to be dealing with the union help and all that kind of stuff, coordinating stuff coming off and onto the stage, getting it backstage and ready to load out of the building, because these opening acts would be done and they would be loading out before Kenny would even take the stage sometimes.
And they would sometimes hit the road or sometimes come back later on in the show, depending upon who it is, right?
Exactly, but you've got to keep things moving so that when Kenny's show is over, when he's done, and as people are out of the way, we can get that show down in those trucks and back on the road for the next show.
Right. I think, Mike, a lot of people, even though those that have been to many, many shows, they don't realize, especially in those in-the-round shows, from every light to every cable to every bit of that stage that would be put together, that was put together in the morning and taken down at night, thrown back in the truck and shuttled on to the next city.
That's exactly right. Every little piece of that show went with us.
Okay. So now Kenny's on, and you're checking those little wedges, right?
Yeah, the little monitor wedges for Kenny so he can hear himself. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the show is over. Islands in the Stream is the last song. People leave, and you go hang around for a couple hours and do nothing?
No, that's what we have. While Kenny's on stage, I'd be backstage. Either me or Lenny Rogers would be backstage having a meeting with the union guys. Lenny was our stage manager, and we'd have a meeting with them about what's going to happen when the show is over, or how we're going to divide you guys up, what section you're going to be in, and then so that everybody's coordinated for when he walks off the stage. There's a little good story about that, though. There was a period at Kenny's show where we had a way of sneaking him into the center of the arena.
Yeah.
Right? It would magically appear in there. And the curtain would go up and he's standing there. We would have 500 people staying after the show in their seats trying to figure out, as we tore down, how we got him to the middle of that stage. Nobody ever figured it out. Never.
You know what? Here's what a crazy world it is. I was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 7 or 8 years or so ago, doing some video work for a campground, and somehow the name Kenny Rogers came up, and the guy that I was talking to said, "I worked for Kenny Rogers." I said, "Well, what do you do?" Because his name didn't ring a bell. He said, "This is crazy," but he said, "When I was working with him, I was the guy who put him in that music case and rolled him out to the stage right before showtime." And I still don't remember the guy's name, but there was a couple music cases that had air holes in them, right? And then
we made it. We made a special box. It looked like a lot of cases stacked up. Inside was a Corinthian leather couch that he was perfectly comfortable in. He's the highlight of his day, he would tell me, because he can sit in there and relax, not have to worry about anything.
Oh, that's funny. Because sometimes it was a long way out to the stage, right? Depending upon how big the
yeah. But we would sneak him out there during set change when you're taking equipment off and on, and he'd be out there sitting under the stage for maybe 15 minutes while everything was being ready to go.
Oh, that's crazy. I remember those days, and I'm trying to figure out, how did it happen? Because all of a sudden the room goes dark, and there's a big cylindrical curtain that was down.
Yeah.
And then it goes up, and there's Kenny and everybody. Because there was a couple of years before that he would walk from the seats.
Oh, yeah. He would
not just from the dressing room to the stage, but through the seats. And when you see all those videos now, you see Rob Pincus and is it Roy?
Yeah, Roy Rogers,
guys, and they're swishing people away.
Yeah, moving.
Anyway. Okay, so now the show is over.
Yes.
What are you going to do? What are you doing?
Well, we have the seating guys come out and start getting the seats out of the way because they would be in our way to load everything out. So we're
Come on, don't freeze on me now, folks.
getting those guys coordinated, getting all those floor seats out of the way. In the meantime, everybody inside of that instrumental gear, the monitor gear, the sound gear, the stage apart also while that's going on. And as soon as that stage is removed out of that area, the light
drop the lights.
Lighting truss and the sound trusses come down. And the sound crew starts to take apart the sound, and the lighting guys. There you are. Did I lose you for a minute?
Yeah, for a little bit, but go ahead. We're still here.
So where did I lose you at? Well, we're taking apart the lighting and the sound gear that comes down to the ground from the ceiling.
Yeah.
And everything starts headed towards the trucks, where we have our Teamster guys and our truck loaders putting stuff into the trucks. And every night it goes in exactly the same way. So that piece of gear, so it packs exactly the same as it did the night before. Two things happen. It keeps your truck load balanced, and you don't leave equipment behind.
Okay, so there's somebody checking stuff off as it's going into the truck.
Exactly. Or calling for it. Where's it at? Get it over here now.
Okay. So now the truck's loaded. What time is it now? Is it about midnight?
Yeah, midnight going on 12:30, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
So now you're heading for the next city.
Yes.
Right? You're on a crew bus. How many were on that bus generally?
Well, there was 2 crew buses. So there was probably 10 people on each bus.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And you learned to sleep when you were traveling.
To this day, to right now, I sleep better traveling than I do in my own bed, I think.
Oh. You see, the band guys were saying, because they got spoiled all those years when they would fly from place to place. They said, it wasn't real sleep when you were on the bus. You had to get into the hotel before you could get real sleep.
See, we didn't have to go to the hotel. We would go straight to the gig. So we slept the whole way through. We wouldn't get up in the middle of the night and go into the hotel.
Okay.
That would give us the opportunity to sleep in.
Okay. So then now you're in the new city, which could be 200, 300, 400 miles away.
Exactly.
Right. And it's 7 in the morning. What are you just starting to stir or what?
No, by 7 in the morning, usually we were up and at 'em. Going in, the first thing that's happening is breakfast. So you get in there in time to go have something to eat before everything starts. The riggers, Lanny Lander, and whoever's on his rigging crew at the time goes in and starts laying out the floor and getting all the cabling ready to put stuff up in the air. Because it's, you know, you always say I'm not going to use algebra or something when I get older. That's not correct, because we used it every day to figure out the angles and the bridles and everything to make those motors and all those chains and all those trusses wind up at the same spot every day.
And somebody had to go up to the rafters, to the steel structure of the top of the building.
That's correct.
To hang those ropes, not ropes, but the cables.
Oh, yeah, steel cables, yes.
Yep.
Yep, and then pull the motor chains up to hook them up until the electricity could pull the motors up in the air.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything crazy? Anything crazy ever happened during that time that you were there?
Oh, lots of crazy things happened during the time when I was there. You know, making sure that these points can hang. Well, there's some things that we don't want to talk about being crazy while the time I was there.
Although the statute of limitations is up on a lot of it, right?
Yeah, some of it. But you know what they say? If you tell some of these stories, you'll never go to work in this business again.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, luckily with the Kenny crew, most of them are of retirement age, so they don't have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally
true.
The
same. I don't mean crazy stories with shenanigans. I just mean some technical snafus.
No, not technical stuff. More like getting carrying on and having a little bit of fun for load-ins and load-outs. I remember one time one of the guys, might have been the guy you were talking to down in the Carolinas when you were down there, did a loadout. The only thing he wore for a loadout was sneakers and a tool belt. That got everybody's attention back in the day.
So that wasn't part of the Christmas show, in other words.
No, not at all.
Not then. So we're experiencing a little technical snafu.
Oh, he said it was too hot. He was too sweaty. His clothes were sticking.
Yeah. We lost you a little bit, but hang in there.
I'm losing you for some reason.
Yeah.
There we are. I'm back. There we go.
There we go.
I don't know why that's happening.
So anyway, so your years were what again?
Like 1983 through 1997.
Okay, so you did 14, 15 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Years. Okay.
Yeah, they were great years. We had really good time.
So what would you take from the show, or not necessarily from the show, but take from the whole relationship with Kenny that you've taken with you already and utilized later in life, principles that you saw that were being lived every day at the show?
Well, one of the major deals was his dedication. He's a very dedicated man. I mean, to do the stuff that he did when I was there, the period that I was there, you think it wasn't only just being on stage and making records. He was doing photography.
Yeah.
And he was doing movies. I mean, he was a very busy, very dedicated guy. And I think I took some of that with me, the dedication part, when I left.
Yeah, not a lot of fooling around, not a lot of...
Oh, he would have his moments. He could carry on with you. He could have some fun. But
you ever have to go play tennis with him to fulfill a duo of tennis?
No, I got to play basketball with him, though. Him and Ken Cragen. And Kenny, me, and Ken Cragen at the farm one time for a practice with against Michael Jordan, Spud Webb, and Larry Bird.
Oh, so you got to go to those Kenny Rogers, what do they call them, Mike?
Kenny Rogers weekend. Yeah, the specials.
So you were working that as well. Tell us some of the celebrities you may have run into there.
Oh my God! Besides ones I just mentioned, I don't know, James Caan. Who's the guy from NCIS? Oh, what's his name? I forget. I'm forgetting what his name. That's really nice to do, isn't it?
How about some of the sports people?
Mark Harmon. Mark Harmon.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson was there. But then you'd have, like you'd have tennis stars. He had a tennis star, a basketball star, a golf star, and then a celebrity for each team.
Okay.
That's how it out. Very many people. They were beautiful.
They were respectful to you guys. They weren't treating you like dirt.
Nobody on Kenny Rogers' whole organization ever treated any of us like dirt. And as a matter of fact, Kenny's rule was, especially with opening acts, you never treat an opening act like dirt. They were allowed to use any of Kenny's equipment that they wanted, no matter what. I mean, if somebody would have said to Chuck Jacobs, I need to use your bass and your bass amp, Chuck would have said, okay.
Yeah, because I think that stems back from the Captain and Tennille days when they were denied.
Exactly.
I remember Bobby Daniels saying that, I think it was that show, that he had to drum in the dark because they wouldn't let him use the lights.
Yep. So Kenny's rule, he made it emphatic. Any opening act we have gets treated like royalty, and that helped with everybody.
Interesting.
Yeah, very, very, very thoughtful for his people that came out with him on the road.
Any opening acts that stand in your mind more so than others?
Well, of course, Dolly, but she wasn't really an opening act. Dolly was like, they were co-billed on that show. Oh, they were wonderful. I mean, those shows with Dolly were like magical. Everything was magical.
Well, she had her own band too, right?
Oh, she was great. Oh, yeah. Well, there was a time. I remember one morning, the T-shirt guy came up to me and said, Dolly doesn't know there's a show today. I think we were in Minnesota or something. And I had to call her at home. I called her at home and said, Dolly, we have a show. We're setting up for it right now. And her band couldn't make it. They were in L.A. and she was, I guess, down south somewhere. And she could make it, but the band couldn't. So Kenny's band went in to rehearse with Dolly in the dressing room for like a half an hour before her show and went out and played a show with her.
Now, if my failing memory serves me correctly, didn't you play on stage a couple times?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Gene Golden, he had to go home due to a family emergency. And Kenny came up to me and threw me a tape and said, learn this crap fast. That's what he said. This was like 3 p.m. There was a show that night at 7:30 or something. It was like, oh my God. So that was up in New England, your area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember where?
I think it might have been Rhode Island.
Oh, could be.
Rhode Island.
Yeah. For some reason, I remember. Luckily, you guys are the same size.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But then it happened again. We went to Japan, and Gene flew the whole way to Japan, got a notice when he landed and had to fly right home, and I did the Asian tour. I played the rest of the the whole Asian tour.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And so Kenny comes up and goes, we're in Japan going out. He said, the TV show is going out tonight. He said, Michael, don't be nervous now. He goes, this is only going out to 1 billion Chinese people tonight. So don't let that make you nervous.
Oh, that's funny. So when you put the nights that you played in the band, did you still have to go rigging after the show was over?
Oh, as a matter of fact, I'd start the show with my radio saying, okay, house lights out, put it down, start playing right away.
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. Name some, and you did name a lot of the guys, some of the guys you worked with that you want to just say hello to, because this is kind of like a walk down memory lane. And I know Garth, we talked to Garth Shaw today. Were you there when he was there?
Yeah, I was there when Garth was there. Yeah.
And
it was like the first Gene Roy.
Right. That's so funny. So I talked to Gene Roy yesterday. He's finally going to break his silence and come on here and talk about this.
Oh, good. I have to talk to him. I haven't talked to him.
Right after Kenny passed, you know, all the TV networks are going to all these other celebrities and saying, you know, what was it like with Kenny Rogers and blah, 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 blah. And they had all those TV specials right after he died.
Yeah.
But, you know, Gene Roy is really the one who's, for the last 20 years or so, spent more time face to face with Kenny than Kenny's wife.
Oh, no doubt about it. I do not doubt that for 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah. We'll probably have to do 2 segments with.
Gene will have stories. Don't believe anything he tells you about me, though.
No. I would never. Never think of anything like that. So, you know, when you look back on the career that Kenny had, you know, even with the other acts that you've worked with, have you ever seen anybody get 50 years out of a run? Or, let me ask you this, or a band member to get 40 years out of a run?
Oh, my God, no. I mean, he was dedicated to his band, too. He was very loyal to the people. And as a matter of fact, I don't think he ever fired a guy in his band at all. They would leave on their own. I mean, that was up to them. And everybody I knew that left agonized over leaving. You know, it wasn't a thing where they just got up and said, okay, I'm out of here. They always had an agonizing period about getting out of there.
Yeah. Now, were you there with Warren Hartman at all?
Yep, I was there. Man, I was there when Edgar was there. The original band when I started was Edgar and Rick Harper and Randy and Gene Golden,
Chuck
Daniels, Chuck Jacobs, and Steve Glassmeyer.
Oh, Steve, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So basically, none of those guys left to go to another artist.
No, not at all.
You know, Edgar left to do his thing.
Then you go with Dick Clark or something. Edgar went with Dick Clark.
Yeah.
And then Warren came in. Warren was there. And then Lynn Hammond came in for Bobby Daniels.
Yep.
Bobby left.
Yeah.
I think that's the only 2 changes before I left. Everybody else was still there when I left.
Yeah, and then Rick went off the road, and then Lynn went off the road. Lynn did it 23 years, and Warren did it 23 years.
Yeah.
And Chuck and Randy and Steve all did their 40. And I think Gene Sisk did 20 years, and Brian did 15, and Mike Zimmerman did 5.
Brian was just at a show here with the Eagles tribute band.
Yeah. Was he at your venue?
Yeah. I'm one of the guys on the entertainment committee at Longs Park in Lancaster now.
Okay.
That keeps my hand in the till.
In the till. So now you're on the other side of the showbiz side. You're on the CK Spurlock side. Yes,
we have, except for COVID kind of took us out this year, and we were sad.
Yeah. I know that they're all looking forward to it. And Don Gatlin, we did an interview with him, and you know, he said, "Look, I don't want people to think I'm Kenny because I'm not Kenny, but I just want to bring the music out." And the band is excited as can be.
He sounds great with them, though. He does sound good. Yep. He really is.
They're tight.
Yeah. Oh, that band is one of the tightest bands around. I mean, think about it. 40 years playing together. They probably know when each other wakes up when they're at home.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's another thing that needs to be said about the crew members here, is that you guys don't just work together. You eat together, and I got to say this the right way, you sleep in the same building together as you travel from building to building. And the building you sleep in is the bus. So you're susceptible to the other person snoring and other bad habits that may take place at night.
Oh, yeah.
And was that getting used to? Took a while to get used to?
When you first start, it does take a while. I mean, you think you're traveling down the road at 75 miles an hour, and you're trying to go to sleep thinking, I hope this bus driver got enough sleep last night, you know. But luckily, we had great bus drivers. We had great truck drivers the whole way through my tenure there anyway. Everybody was wonderful, professional. Never had a problem with them.
Yeah. Did you ever have Ledford drive you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And his brother, Troy.
Yeah. Oh, Troy, too. Okay. Yeah. And they're both gone now.
I know. You know what? Almost all the drivers that were there when I was there are gone. Frank Francis and Bobby and Ledford. Troy. I guess they shouldn't have been eating all that bacon and sausage and eggs every morning or something. I don't know, but I miss them. I miss them. I got to tell you that. I miss them.
Yep. And you know what? They're just regular guys. But the thing with the Kenny crew is that there was no caste system. That the crew was the lower
Never.
in the band.
Never.
Right?
Nope. Never. I mean, I could walk into Kenny's rehearsal room or dressing room anytime I wanted to. If I had a problem and anyone needed to talk to him, he would always have the door open. No problem. Yeah. And the band also. Same with the band.
Which made it a lot easier for you guys to do your job.
Oh, definitely. It makes you more dedicated, too, because you're very respectful of the artist that you're working for.
That's interesting. Because you had access to Kenny, you had more respect for him as a coworker and a boss than if you had to go through 5 Gene Roys to get your answer.
No doubt about it. You need certain positions. You need to have direct contact with the artist, or stuff doesn't get done, or it gets misconstrued in translation between 5 people. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's better to be able to talk. And he was quite frank about what he would want. You know, he wasn't he wouldn't beat around the bush. And also, he would. I'll give an example. There was a time when half his stage monitoring system went out for the show. We never knew it. He didn't tell us till the show was over. Said, check these speakers. They weren't working. The audience never knew it. The crew never knew it. Now, there's certain artists, if something like that would happen, they would stop the show to get it fixed before they would continue with the show. Nobody in that arena knew anything was wrong, including the sound people.
Including the sound people.
Yeah, we didn't know.
Yep. But that, because there are artists that would not only stop the show, but belittle their people.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
You know, we've heard about a few of them that would at sound checks, it was like a blasting zone. And, people getting fired 2 minutes before showtime. That type.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, exactly. So as you talked with other people, other crew members with other acts that you would bump into, whether it's at an award show or at a big festival where there are other people there, I'm guessing there must have been some envy that you guys had stability when I guess what I'm trying to say is when the rule of thumb in this industry is that stability does not exist.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the reason I left Clare Brothers to take this job was because I was guaranteed a salary for the year, and we would do 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Every other show I did before that would be, you'd be gone for 3 to 4 months at a time, sometimes 6. Who
were some of those acts that you worked with prior to Kenny?
Oh, let me see. Stevie Nicks. Bruce Springsteen, Joe Walsh, Grateful Dead. That's telling you how old I am, right? The Grateful Dead. A Kiss for a while, Michael Jackson a little bit. And then we hit Kenny, and it was everybody you can think of we've worked with, right? Like Garth Brooks and Dolly. And I mean, I remember doing a show in St. Louis for 4th of July that it was Kenny, and the act before Kenny was Cheap Trick. So figure that bill out, Wow.
That's quite a
that's quite a bill.
Quite a combination. So anyway. Yeah. Well, we want to thank you so much for taking time. I know you're on vacation this week, and we had some technical issues prior, and we wanted to reschedule and make sure that you got to tell your story, because I think that the general public loves, for what we're hearing is that the public loves to hear these backstage stories, because they see the show, they don't realize anything went wrong. They don't realize anything is different than the norm, and which speaks to the professionalism of the organization when you can get through a show, have things wrong, nobody knows about it, and everybody walks out of there raving, saying we had the time of their lives. And
and all he says was, "Hey, check those speakers. I don't think they're working."
Yeah, just like that. Just like that. somebody else told me the story of something else that wasn't working right once. And again, no harsh words, no nothing. Just, come on, guys, let's get it done and, get it right the next time.
I have a little story that's pretty good. When the Righteous Brothers did almost 100 dates with us.
Okay.
And they would use Kenny's handheld wireless microphones, the real little Sonys. And for their last date, we went out and got 2 cabosas and put windscreens on the cabosas. And when they went on stage, I handed them 2 cabosas with windscreens right out of their microphones. And Hatfield started yelling at the monitor guy, "Turn me on, I'm not on." And Medley knew what it was right away. Bill knew what it was. He was looking at it. He knew it was a hot dog, right? But Hatfield didn't. And he went over to the monitor mixer and started to yell at him, "Turn me on, turn me on." And the monitor guy grabbed the microphone from him, took a bite out of it, and handed it back to him. They couldn't sing the next 3 songs. Every time they started, they'd break up laughing.
Oh, that's funny. I don't know whether you told me that song or somebody else told me that story, but I remember hearing it. But yeah, the jokes backstage, I'm sure there were some things that are probably left backstage.
Well, when you talk to Kelly, did you talk to Kelly Younkerman yet?
Not yet.
When you talk to him, ask him about the magician girl. He'll have a lot of good stories about her.
The magician. Okay.
Yeah, I'll let him tell the stories about the magician.
Okay, I'm going to write that one down, Kelly. Magician. Because
female magician.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, our guest has been Mr. Mike Wolpert. Mike, thank you so much. And folks, this is one of a series of Kenny Rogers commemorative remembrances. Boy, there's a long term. Commemorative remembrance. Say that 5 times fast. If you like this, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, hit the red button, then a bell pops up. Hit the bell. We'll let you know about it every time you get it. In the meantime, Michael, thank you so much. Did you ever sing Blaze of Glory?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
To myself, maybe.
You never got to sing that on stage.
Not in the microphone.
Okay. Have a great day, everybody. Let's go out in that blaze of glory that we just talked about. See y'all.